welcome back to the Your Project Shepherd Construction Podcast. When we last saw Brian and Heather, the financial stress of paying 2 mortgages had become too much to handle, so they sold their current house and moved into their incomplete custom home. Their owner's rep, James, helped them create a punch list, which Derek begrudgingly agreed to. In reality, both parties had to play give and take due to the, shall we call it, loose nature of their contractual agreements. But after a few more weeks and the hassle of doing the punch list in their occupied home, the home is finally complete, smooth walls and all. Brian and Heather have officially now been living in their custom home for 6 months. Although it took a bit of time for all the finishing touches to come together, they finally feel settled. Despite their original plan for Heather to stay home with their 2 young children, she instead continues to work while trying to recoup the savings they lost during the build, which ended up costing a lot more than expected due to so many mistakes. But she loves her career, and with the generosity of their parents, who help watch the kid a few days each week, they're getting by. This particular day started as well as can be expected. Heather woke up early and went for a quick run before returning home to Brian, getting the kids ready for the day. She enjoyed a hot shower in her beautiful new bathroom and got dressed for work. And just like clockwork, she carried the baby out to their car, with the 3-year-old following close behind. She stops for a brief moment and takes a deep breath, taking in the beautiful clear sky and the smell of jasmine blooming. And then the baby spits up all over her new silk blouse. Trying to stay positive, she takes the kids back inside to quickly change clothes. In her beautiful new closet, putting the dirty clothes in the hamper, she notices something. Small black spots on the exterior wall. She pulls the hamper out and pushes the hanging clothes aside. To her horror, she finds the entire wall covered in mold. "Brian!" she yells down the stairs. "I need you to see something!" Sensing the urgency in her voice, Brian rushes in. "Look!" Heather said as she pushes aside more hangers of clothes to reveal the moldy wall of their closet. "That little twerp," Brian said. "I'm calling Derek right now. This is unacceptable." "Don't even bother with him. You know he isn't going to do anything." I remember somebody else dealing with this. They had to call a mold expert, a building forensics guy, or a moldologist, something like that. At this point, Heather is sitting on the closet floor with her head in her hands. Why do these things just have to be so hard? I just want one unproblematic day, and now this is going to be a whole thing. Determined to calm his wife's frustrations, Brian schedules a next-day appointment with a mold inspector as Heather removes all their clothes from what she is calling their defective closet. "He'll be here in the morning," Brian said, "and I'll take off work to meet them. I'll even take the kids to my parents so you can just go straight to work." The next day, Heather enjoys her morning routine without the kids and even stops by her favorite coffee shop on the way to work. While waiting for her name to be called, she glances over at the corner table where she, Brian, and Derek held most of their meetings. What a ride this has been, she thinks to herself. Later on during her lunch break, anxious for news, Heather calls Brian for an update. "Yeah," Brian said with hesitation. "Remember when they cut that dryer vent into the wall after the siding had been installed? And you asked and Derek said he would just install a decorative cap to cover the hole? Well, apparently they didn't seal around it properly. Something called flashing. Anyway, it's allowing water to seep in during heavy rain, and the moisture is being held in the insulation." Heather tries not to show her anger, but Brian sees her nose flare before continuing on. "And the plywood sheathing is rotten in that area too, and the siding is going to have to be removed so it can be replaced, flashed properly, and then all put back together. On the inside, we have to gut the closet and have the mold remediated by a specialist." "So this is on Derek?" Heather asked. "Yeah, the mold guy did recommend that we reach out to the builder." "And?" "Well, I think Derek got a new number or something because it seems like the one that we have is disconnected." "You've got to be kidding me," Heather said. Later that night, after the girls are asleep, Heather can't help but feel somewhat responsible. She did find Derek through Facebook after all. Suddenly, she realizes that maybe she can at least track his wife down again through social media. Fueled with vengeance, Heather starts searching their names. It seems Derek's wife removed Heather as a friend on Facebook. They always seem to have a decent relationship, so this came as a surprise. However, she decides to just send her a message. "Hey, I hope y'all are well. We're trying to get in touch with Derek, but the number we have isn't working." Heather sees that she's been left on red with no response. As she's plotting her next move, her phone buzzes. "Hello?" she answered. "Hey," a familiar voice says through the other line. "It's Derek." Heather quickly puts it on speaker. Thanks for calling, Derek. I have Brian here with me. Derek, Brian starts. We had a specialist come by to check out some mold damage in the master closet. I'm sorry to hear that you're having problems, Derek said, but to be honest, I'm out of the game. What does that mean? Heather asks. Well, I came out so upside down on your project, and my other ones weren't going much better, so I decided to go back to my old job building production homes for a national builder. I tried to keep my business going on the side, but it just wasn't working out. I am officially out of business. Okay, Brian says, but that doesn't mean that you can just walk away from work that you've done. Yeah, Derek responds, it actually does. I spoke to an attorney, and he told me my best bet would be to close down shop, and I wouldn't have any more liability. Brian and Heather look at each other, bewildered. They're not surprised his business didn't make it, but surely he's still on the hook for the warranties in their contract. Early the next morning, Brian calls a construction attorney, and it seems that everything Derek said is true. He is indeed off the hook. Unless he had given them a third-party warranty, Derek's is only valid as long as he's in business. Suddenly, Brian realizes he needs to go back to James, their owner's rep, who picked up the pieces the last time things went wrong. Hey, James, Brian said. Hey, man, good to hear from you. I'm hoping that you can help us out, Brian said. There's mold in the master closet. We had an inspector out here and everything. Derek has shut down shop, and an attorney said his warranty is no longer valid. Ouch, James said. But hey, we'll find a way forward. Can I meet you at the house in an hour to take a look? Sure thing, Brian said. Heather appeared in the doorway, ready for work. What did the construction attorney say? She said. Nothing good, Brian said. But I just got off the phone with James, and he's coming over to take a look. Oh, thank God, Heather said, realizing once again they should have just called James right from the start. After spending some time in the closet and even cutting a small hole through the sheetrock, James comes up with a plan. Using the report and recommendations from the mold inspector, he outlines the next steps to remediate the mold damage. He even goes a little bit further to include measures to prevent further mold issues in the future. Brian and Heather are grateful to have found James. Moving forward, they know that he will be the first person they call for any issues in the future. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Your Project Shepherd podcast. I'm your host, Curtis Lawson, and as we always say at the beginning of our show, every successful project has 4 key components, and those are represented by a simple child's drawing of a house. The foundation is planning, the left wall is your team, the right wall is communication, and the roof is execution. Have all 4 of those components in place, and your project will succeed. Today on the show, we are talking to Chris Bolio. Chris is the regional partner for Alair Custom Homes. And Alair is a little different, right? Because you guys are actually a home building franchise. So before that, you owned Bolio Custom Homes, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And so tell us a little bit about Alair and how that works.
Yeah, so a little bit different, I think, is maybe an understatement.
Yeah.
It's a lot different, right? We're not used to seeing home building franchises. A lot of people think of franchises like McDonald's or a Chick-fil-A, and that's kind of top-down franchise where the franchise dictates everything. This is exactly the opposite. So Alair Homes is a network of custom builders and remodelers across North America that have decided to join forces, partner up, and improve processes, improve systems, improve quality of life, share in the expenses of marketing and back office support, and just really build businesses that we can be proud of, that are some of the most successful, most valuable, least risky construction businesses in North America.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
So when I first started doing this podcast, and I told people I was going to have other builders as guests, people asked me, why would I do that? Because, I'm a builder. I have a custom building company. Although my consulting company, Shepherd Construction Advisors, produces the show. And I always tell them, in a city the size of Houston, there's more than enough work to go around for everyone.
For sure.
There's no shortage of work. And I would rather see other companies who I feel are doing things the right way get the business rather than somebody who's not.
Oh, 100%, man. I mean, that's one of the biggest issues with our industry, right? Is it's this idea of competition versus collaboration. And I think, just like you, it should be exactly the opposite. If we collaborate, if we support each other, if we help lift each other up, it's going to improve the entire industry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the reality of it.
For sure. I love having other builders on the show. It's always good to
to swap ideas before and after and hear how people do things. So today our topic is something that's not normally thought of as an exciting topic. It's builders warranties. We've been working through kind of this whole start to finish production of a custom home, from site selection, design, planning, execution. So now we're kind of toward the tail end of that. We're talking about builders warranties. And again, that's not something that usually gets a lot of attention. People don't think about it maybe until they need it.
Right.
Sometimes.
Right.
So it's almost an afterthought. So just for people who are listening and watching that don't know anything about this, tell folks like what kind of builders warranties are generally out there for a custom home.
Sure. So, I mean, obviously builder warranties really vary from state to state, right? They're state mandated minimums. In Texas, we have, generally speaking, a 210 warranty. So 2 years on mechanical systems, any delivery systems in the home, and then 10 years on structural. And that's pretty basic.
Yeah.
You and I were talking a little bit before, and the reality is that the two main types of warranties really are the warranty that's kind of the, oh crap, it's hit the fan
Yeah.
warranty, that is backed by a third party that a builder might buy for you. And then there's the warranty that the builder is going to self-perform. And arguably, I think that's probably the more important one. That's the one that you're really going to experience more often. If a builder is worth their salt, they're going to want to do the right thing, right? I think that's the most important thing. And so the kind of warranty that a builder has given their past clients, whether it's a do the right thing warranty, like I said, or it's written, is really the best. It's really the best measurement of how your warranty is going to be provided. The reality is that your first call, if something goes wrong or you think something's going wrong, your first call should be to your builder. I mean, you've built that relationship. You have established credibility both ways, the builder to the client and the client to the builder. And you're kind of married in a way for a very long time, as we should be. So if you can call the builder first and get their input, get their feedback, have their eyes on it, maybe it's something minor, maybe it's something you need to address immediately. But certainly, our clients are professionals in whatever business they're in, whether it's attorneys or doctors or whatever. And they're not builders. They're not used to seeing what moisture looks like. They're not used to seeing what settlement looks like. They don't know that a little bit of movement in the cabinets, while not ideal, isn't life-threatening, right?
Yeah.
A lot of things really are just adjustments, and so in a lot of ways, it's easy to identify and kind of fix things that way. And then the other type of warranty is going to be, oh crap, my builder's not around anymore. Maybe they shut their doors, maybe they retired. God forbid something happens more serious and they can't work. And that's kind of where the purchase warranty, I think, really comes into place, because at least you have somebody to go to that's going to help you with catastrophic issues. So,
some builders do both. Some builders do one or the other. You think there's a right or wrong way to do that?
As custom builders, you and I are both high-end custom builders. As custom builders, I think it's important that we have a third-party warranty for our clients, because we are smaller businesses, because there is more risk of not being able to continue. While I have a really strong business, and I know you do as well, you've been around for a long time, there is that risk. DR Horton is not going out of business next year.
Yeah.
David Weekley is here to stay, right? But for a custom builder, having somebody besides that custom builder, in case of the bus scenario,
yeah,
I think is important. I think it brings peace of mind to clients. That said, in 20 plus years of building homes, never have my clients ever had to go to the third party to get that fulfilled.
Yeah,
they're going to call me. We talk it over. Sometimes it's maintenance that we help them with.
Yeah.
Maybe they pay for it. Sometimes it's really something that should have been done a little bit differently. Building science changes. Common practices change. And so, certainly I feel like we are the best and first line of defense for our clients. But yeah, I think there's validity in having both for smaller builders, for custom builders. I think it brings peace of mind, man.
Yeah. I was going to say this for later, but since you mentioned it, I want to talk about, kind of some common things that people experience or might call you for a warranty on. I would say the most common would be, the things they can see, cosmetics.
Sure.
So, our warranty, and probably yours is, the first year, we cover kind of cosmetic issues. We'll come back out and do a round of crack fixes and paint touch-ups and those kind of things at the end of the first year. So those are kind of the most common things. But outside of that, what else do you commonly see or get calls for?
In the first few weeks or months of a new project, you're going to have little gremlins come up, little electrical issues. Maybe an outlet's not working. Maybe a switch isn't exactly where you need it to be. Maybe a faucet seal is a little bit leaky, and you get those types of things. And you just really can only experience that through living in the house, right?
Yeah.
Not through punching it again and again and again, because it's not the same use scenario. So little things like that, I think, are pretty common in the first year. That's going to get taken care of very, very quickly. And like you said, the cosmetic, the sheetrock crack, the settlement. People often think settlement is the house is settling down into the ground. And yeah, there's a little bit of that. But you and I both know that settlement really is a significant amount of shrinkage because moisture is being pulled out of materials, right?
Right.
Framing materials are settling onto themselves or shrinking a little bit. Sure. Trim molding, doors, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You used to build your own cabinets. I'm sure you had joints that would kind of open up sometimes.
Sure.
So yeah, it's that cosmetic stuff. I think beyond that, the most common issues or questions that we get, they're less warranty issues than they are questions, are really maintenance items, right? Why do I have settlement? Why are these plants dying? Why is my fence moving? Just little things that come with super expensive soils like we have in Southeast Texas, and really come with educating homeowners on how to maintain homes, right? The sealants and windows, cracks, especially stucco. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And so home maintenance is actually the next episode that we're doing. And
I'll stay away from that one then, Curtis.
I'm a big proponent of having a home maintenance contract. We're going to be interviewing Eric Klein from Goodsmith. I'm not sure if you know Eric.
I don't.
But he has a fantastic program that we highly encourage people to sign up for. They'll come out and check those kinds of things that most homeowners don't ever think about, like caulking on their windows. How many times does the average homeowner go out and, look around the windows and see, hey, is my caulking in good shape?
Yeah. What is caulking?
Yeah. What's it supposed to look like? What's it supposed to do? I don't know.
What's it? Yeah.
So
what's good shape?
Yeah. So having somebody to help you maintain that stuff is really important if you can't do it yourself.
That's right.
And same thing with tankless water heaters. Supposed to be flushed a couple times a year.
That's right.
We have people that call us. They're like, "Oh, I've never flushed this thing."
What about maintaining our ACs? It's not like they get any use in Houston, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's not working. When's the last time you maintained it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's more than just changing the filters. So
that's right.
There's certain maintenance items that really have to be done for the home to perform as intended. But also, some of those can affect the warranty, even, which is why I've brought that up.
Right.
If certain things aren't done, aren't maintained, it can hurt your warranty. You or I might honor it, but let's say another builder might say, "Nope, you didn't do that, so now I'm not warranting your house."
Right.
And honestly, there are certain situations where I may do that, even.
Sure.
And honestly,
if somebody pulls out 3 trees around a house and doesn't account for the moisture difference, you can't possibly take care of the foundation movement that's going to occur. You can't.
Right. So I would say the biggest thing that I see is grading and drainage issues.
That's right. And that's really kind of the most dangerous as well, right?
That's
sure. What's going to move your house. That's what's going to affect it potentially structurally. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, throw in a flower bed and a sprinkler system after the fact, maybe, or add some more flower beds up against the house. Now you're spraying a lot of water on the side of the house all the time, or maybe you don't like the way the yard drains, so you go in and regrade the whole yard yourself afterwards, and now you've caused a whole world of
Why
problems.
do I have this swale on the side of my house? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that dip that's in the side yard.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fill that in. I don't need that.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always muddy down there. My dog's feet come in the house.
That's right.
Muddy or something.
Yeah.
So, are there any other items that you can think of that are like, hey, if you don't do this, this is going to cause some warranty issues?
Yeah, I think you hit it. That's the most important one is definitely moisture management around our foundations, right? You take the expansive soils that we have in Houston, you add on top of that a massive concrete slab that may be floating on grade, or maybe it's set on piers, and those piers maybe are 12 or 14 feet down. But still, we have expansive soils down to, I think, 5,000 feet around here, right?
Yeah,
it's a
something like
swamp.
that, yeah.
People forget that Houston is a swamp.
Yeah, rice field.
Yeah. Totally, that's exactly right. And so maintaining that moisture content in the soil around our foundations, I think, is the most important thing, so that we don't get differential movement from one side to the other, so our foundations don't fail, so they don't move excessively. There's always going to be a little bit of movement, right? The soil just moves. It just does.
Sure.
But that is typically designed into our foundations, into our structures. And luckily, our wood structures are relatively flexible. So most of the time, it's not a structural failure. That said, you can get a lot of movement, and that's kind of the number one most important maintenance thing, is maintain the moisture around the foundation.
Yeah.
I would say the second thing, also dealing with moisture, is making sure that you maintain the sealant around the exterior envelope of the house. So windows, siding joints, around your pipes, around electrical penetrations.
Yeah, any penetration through the house.
Yeah, because as soon as you start getting moisture into that wall, you're not going to see it right away. You're not going to see it until it's a big problem. And once it's a big problem, every single insurance policy I've ever seen says any issue that's been persistent and hasn't been addressed in a timely manner is not covered, right? So that's where that catch-22 is like, well, if you didn't maintain your house, it's really hard to fix these issues. This isn't a poor install. This is a lack of maintenance. So that's where it can get a little bit gray and a little bit difficult for homeowners.
If somebody has a warranty issue, let's say they move in their house and they've got a warranty issue that arises, what is the normal procedure for that to be addressed? I mean, I know every builder is different, but what's kind of a normal procedure? Hey, I've got an issue. What do I do?
Again, I think the most important thing is you call the person you have a relationship with. You call your builder. Call your builder, say, hey, got a quick question. This is going on. I don't know if it's a big deal or not, but I'm concerned. And would you come out and take a look at it? I mean, I think it's that simple.
Yeah.
Any builder, again, that's worth a damn should drive out there, take a look at it. At the very least, send a good qualified project manager to take a look at it, start there, assess the situation, figure out first what's going on. Is it an issue or not? How can we help address it? Whether that's us addressing it completely or just helping solve the problem through the homeowner, if it's out of warranty or if it's maintenance or cosmetic, whatever the case is, we're here to help. We should be here to help.
Yeah.
And then address it that way, man. And then if it's something larger, let's say it's a large manufacturer item. It's a expensive appliance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to name names, but there's a lot of expensive ones.
Yeah.
They all have qualified local representatives that are service contractors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to have to go through those service contractors. But again, your builder should be a great place to start. They're probably going to go to the person that they got it from first, and then kind of go up the chain that way.
Yeah. So technology has really helped manage the warranty stuff for us, at least. I'm sure for you too. We use a project management software. Do y'all do that as well?
We do. So we have a project management software that's proprietary.
Okay.
For all of our projects. One of the things that we were chatting about before or discussing was warranty is sometimes people think of it like homework or like something that they don't want to have to do. But the reality is this is a client that has already spent money with you.
Yeah.
And our clients, as custom builders and renovators, our clients are our best source of business.
Yeah.
They are
Referrals,
our cheerleaders,
marketing.
referrals, marketing, all of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, right? So those clients, when they need a little bit of help, you got to make sure that you don't drop the ball. Whether it's the principal handling it, or a project manager or a warranty professional in that company, you need to have a system to make sure that you're tracking, make sure that everything is organized, make sure that the client's being communicated with in a timely manner, consistently, and that you're not dropping it. I mean, it just as important as everybody thinks of having a CRM, right? A client relationship management portal, but not necessarily a way to track warranty.
Yeah.
If you have very little warranty, maybe it's less of an issue. Right?
Yeah.
But as you grow and you have more and more homes that have been completed, even if it's minor stuff, I mean, give it the attention that it deserves.
Yeah.
And get it done.
Do you guys track your warranty stuff through your software?
We do. We create a warranty.
Is that part of your portal?
It is. So we create a warranty job just in case for every project. And it allows us, if anything ever does come up, it allows us a way to communicate with the client. It allows us a way to track costs, schedules, different things that have to be done. And it's just as robust as our project management software.
That's great. Yeah.
It's part of it.
Yeah, we use Co-Construct, which is one of the big softwares out there. Yep. And our customers can log in. If they have a warranty claim, sometimes it's easier than calling just to say, hey, I'll log in, click, take a picture of it. Hey, here's a faucet that's dripping.
Yep.
Upload it. It comes to us the next morning or immediately.
Sure.
And we can schedule the plumber. Then once it's done, the customer can mark, hey, this is done. I'm happy with it. We're good. And so it's just a great way to track kind of those to-do items for warranties and make sure that it's getting followed up on. And
100%.
You mentioned a second ago appliances. That's usually kind of a big one because when they...
Why do my $60,000 appliances need warranty work?
Yeah.
Sure, you've never gotten that one.
I mean, when your refrigerator goes out, you want somebody on that.
That's right.
Or your 60-inch range or whatever.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
All of a sudden, you can't put your Stouffer's meal in there to warm up.
That's right.
In your $60,000 range.
Dishwasher quits working. Right? How do people have forgotten how to wash dishes? Yeah.
Yeah. So on those small items, you mentioned like having a warranty, a service tech come out from the appliance company. That's kind of the way you usually do it. But on other items such as like plumbing fixtures, light fixtures, yes, we're going to handle that. But what happens if like let's say a faucet or an ice maker or whatever has a leak, and now it's
something bigger.
The cabinet's ruined because of that. The floors are ruined because of that. How do y'all usually address? I mean, have you had to come up and do you address it? Or how do you address it? Sorry.
Luckily, I haven't had it come up. I haven't had a plumbing leak or something like that ruin something more. We have had an ice maker leak. We have had, of course, after a large renovation, we've had during the homes in occupancy, roots infiltrated the drain pipe from the house, and so then it backs up once they start living in the house again. Just trees looking for that moisture that was prevalent before.
Yeah.
So we've had stuff like that happen, and just put your big boy pants on and get it fixed. I mean, bottom line, right? Get the ice maker done. Pull the strings you have to pull. Contact as a builder. If you're looking for a great builder, you're also looking for those great relationships that builder has.
Yeah.
So if you've got strong relationships as a builder with your supplier houses, with the supply houses of appliances or ice makers or plumbing or whatever it is, you're going to go to them.
Yeah.
You're going to go to the professional plumbers that you use, right? The reason that they're purchasing plumbing and installing it a lot of times is so that they can warrant it. It's that simple. Can they get it? Can our clients get it cheaper at Home Depot? Sure. Is it going to carry a warranty? No. Uninstall it and take it to Home Depot.
Yeah.
Right? There's a reason why we want to install quality stuff that's not plastic internals.
Right.
I'm probably going to get sued by Home Depot for that. But the reality is that that's where the relationship comes in, right? Whether it's 6 months in or 13 months in, now you got to make a phone call, and maybe it's not warranted, but you got to make that phone call and you've got to do the right thing.
Yeah. And, sometimes builders have the ability, the suppliers rather, they may not be able to just write us a check for replacing that cabinet or whatever. But if you have a good relationship, maybe that appliance vendor will say, hey, I'm sorry about that. I can't write you a check, but I'm going to give you your next fridge for free, or a 10% discount, some way that the builder can kind of recoup that loss. Right. If we're taking care of our clients, they'll generally take care of us as well.
That's right. And that's the whole point, right? Is they are doing the right thing by us. They don't have to. It's not written that they have to.
Yeah.
They're doing the right thing by us, but we also have to do the right thing by our clients.
Yeah. I had that with some windows a couple of years ago, where we had some window failures, and we were out of pocket to replace the windows. And my window rep that I've used for a long time, he's like, our company won't write you a check, but your next 2 orders of windows, I'm going to give you a massive discount to compensate for it. And he's like, if I have to, I'll take it out of my own commission to make that happen. So those relationships are key.
Absolutely. Scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Absolutely.
Yeah. So talking about other things, kind of like that can affect the warranty, that people a lot of times want to try to do themselves to maybe save some money. Oftentimes we get clients that want to hire their own pool company, or their own landscaping company, or they're like, hey, I got a great deal, Labor Day sale on appliances at Home Depot, or
sure,
the appliance store over at Best Buy or whatever. And so, they're trying to save a buck. I get it. They don't want to pay our markup on it. I get it. But when you bring somebody else into the equation, not only are we not managing that to make sure it's installed properly, if that, it goes back to the discussion about, the windows and the appliances. If one of those things breaks and causes damage to something else, that puts us in a really bad position, right?
It does. It just causes gray, right? Look, I agree with you. I totally get clients wanting to save money. I mean, you and I, we do the same thing.
Oh, sure.
Right? We want to save as much money as we can. But the reality is, when our clients are trusting us to manage a project, nothing that we do, Curtis, as you very well know, is rocket science. It's not difficult to hire somebody to come and change a faucet. It's not difficult to hire a roofer to come and change a roof. It's not difficult to hire a lawn guy to come and put in some new flowers.
Yeah.
It's just not rocket science. But everything together, the magic really is in the coordination. It's in the management of each one of those people, right? And managing with each other.
Yeah.
And it's in that communication and that experience that the client has. So to that end, when clients ask us, hey, I just want to buy my appliances and I don't want to pay your markup on it. Really, the answer is, look, I understand. I totally get it. If it were one phone call for your appliances, that would be one thing, but it's not, right? There's coordination with location of mechanicals. There's coordination with cabinets. There's coordination with install. There's coordination on the countertops. What happens when something gets scratched, as you very well said?
Yeah.
What happens when something drops and scuffs the floor? Who's responsible for that?
Yeah.
We are, as contractors, we're not compensated for writing checks, right?
Right.
We're compensated for managing and coordinating. That's the bottom line. That's what we're compensated for: to manage, to plan, to coordinate, to execute on a project as project coordinators. Problem solvers, professional problem solvers a lot of times. But that's what we do. It's not about who put their credit card down for the appliances or who bought the light fixtures. That's not the piece that matters. What happens when a client buys a $50,000 chandelier and it's being installed by your electricians and it falls?
Yeah.
Or it doesn't work? Who's responsible for it?
Yeah.
Right? Who do we go to then?
Yeah.
It causes gray. It causes potential strife between the client and builder relationship.
Yeah.
And really, I think anything that we can do to minimize the chance of that tension between client and builder is important to do. There has to be one cook in that kitchen. And the client, of course, is the owner of the restaurant, but there's one cook in the kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah. The owner of the restaurant doesn't generally come in and tell the chef how to cook the steak.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that pretty much covers the warranty topic that I wanted to cover. But there's a couple things that I always ask all the guests that come on, and I like to hear the different feedback, perspectives. And it's funny, I kind of always get not the same answer, but all the answers kind of have a common thread, whether it's a builder or an architect or a construction attorney or an engineer or a realtor, all the people that I've had on as guests. Different answers, but kind of the same feel, right? So the questions are, tell me about your ideal client, your dream client.
Our ideal client is a client who wants to collaborate, who wants to be educated, who wants to be a part of the process, wants to know how their money is being protected and spent. A client who is decisive and open to having someone guide them, right? So not the client that thinks they know how to build better than anyone else, but just haven't gotten around to it.
I could do this. I just don't have the time.
That's exactly right. Okay, great. Then do it, because that's not me, buddy. Again, it's not rocket science. You're right. You probably can do it. But if you don't have the time and you want us to do it, let us do it, right? So one of the things that's really important for us, Curtis, is honestly being very direct with clients and letting them know that it's okay if we're not the builder for them, because they might not be the client for us.
Yeah.
Right. And being really sincere and direct with them, saying, I want to help you the best way that I can. And that might be not being your builder. That might be helping you find somebody else to do it.
Awesome. So on the flip side of that, what kind of person is somebody who maybe shouldn't go through this process?
So it's a long process, right? It's a lot of work. It should be a lot of fun. It should be super exciting. It's a blessing to be able to build a custom home. The people that shouldn't build a custom home are people who can find exactly what they want, already made, already built. Why? Just why? And the other person is someone who has to micromanage. If you know that you're a micromanager and that you are going to be in your builder's hair all the time, if you think you're going to get a better deal because of that, I would say think twice, because you're not going to win by having a conflictive relationship with your builder. It's not going to work out well.
Yeah.
Right. So that would be the two people, I think.
Yeah, that's great. I think going back to what other guests' feedback has been, I think the common theme is people who want to be a part of a process and people who won't participate in the process. Those are the two opposite ends of the spectrum. People that should and people that shouldn't.
That's right.
Because if you don't want to be an active participant in the process and follow the builder's process without trying to interject your own process into the deal, probably shouldn't be doing it, right?
That's right. That's right. Just hire a project manager full time, and then you can be whatever, as active as you want. You can direct it. It's yours. And you can build it. Build it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, lastly, do you have any stories that you like to share with people about, a project that you've seen that's had struggles, and not maybe something that you have done, or maybe something that you have just observed? Any projects that you've ever seen that have had problems?
Yeah, of course. I've been building for 22 years, so
They haven't all gone perfectly?
Not all perfectly, no.
Shocking.
So I started building with a production builder. I learned a ton in the production builder. There were a lot of little things. I think the biggest problem I've ever had on a home is a home recently. It's one of our most successful projects. So I'll start with that.
That's good.
We had, because the bottom line is shit happens, right?
Yep.
It just does. We had a home that was overloaded structurally by a sheetrock crew, and we had a floor collapse.
Oh, wow.
Big issue. Big issue. And this is
Do they have all the sheetrock stacked in one spot in this house, or what?
All of it.
Wow.
All of it. And it was because it was just it was a mistake, right? It was a human error.
Yeah.
It wasn't because they didn't know what they were doing. They'd been doing it for years and years and years.
Yeah.
It was an elevated home, and so we had a massive structural failure. The floor was overloaded by 8 times design weight. That is a pretty big problem on a house, but this is a massive win for us. And the reason is because of the relationship that we had built with our clients, because of the validation that we had given them about how we do things and why we do them that way, and that collaborative, that client-centric approach that we talked about a little bit before, they knew that we were going to take care of it, right? Mm-hmm. They were over there that afternoon. We had dinner with them that night. And they were like, "Hey, are you guys okay?" They were asking us, right?
Yeah.
We have no issue. Like, we know it's going to be taken care of. Are we still going to dinner tonight?
Wow.
And so it added a few months to the build. We worked with insurance to take care of it. The clients knew exactly what was going on every step of the way. The home was rebuilt completely without any issues. It got flying colors from all of the inspectors, the engineers, everybody. And it was a phenomenal testament to the relationship that had been built by our operations team and that client. And it'll forever be kind of one of the scariest things that we've gone through, and also one of our proudest things, because again, stuff goes wrong. And ultimately, what makes the difference between builders is how they react when that happens, right? And it's a real testament to the type of relationship that you've built with your client when that client is calm and when that client knows in their heart that it's going to be fine. You're going to take care of it. You're going to fix whatever happened. It was an accident. No one got hurt. Let's move on.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's one of the best stories I've heard on this podcast.
Yeah, it's cool. I'll show you some pictures later.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. Well, I think that's about all the time we have for today. So I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Alair's an awesome company. You guys do great work. I'm always jealous when I see your projects on social media.
Thanks.
And y'all are one of the companies that I'm happy to refer people to if it's something that that's not my wheelhouse, or if I'm a consultant and I'm not trying to build their house, I'm happy to refer them to you guys, and just love what you do.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
So if our listeners want to talk to you about your process or want to build a house with you, tell them where they should go.
Sure. So the easiest way to get in touch with us is to go to alairhomes.com/Houston120 and reach out on a contact form, and we'll get back with you.
Awesome. Well, thanks again.
Yeah. Thanks, Curtis.
And thanks again to all of you for tuning in to this episode of the Your Project Shepherd Construction Podcast. Again, be sure to remember that every successful project has those 4 key components, which are represented by a very simple drawing of a house. The foundation is planning, the left wall is your team, the right wall is communication, and the roof is proper execution. Have all 4 of those components and your project will go far. So be sure to check us out again next week. As I mentioned, we're going to have Eric Klein from Goodsmith Home Maintenance as a guest, and we're going to talk about all those things that you should do to keep your home running in optimal condition and keep your warranty intact as well. So thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.